in a manner that there are no governments in between them and the people. Then we see that the distinction of local government is that it is the closest level of government to the people. It is the most direct, and it is the one where many people find the essence of their being and their existences. For the simple reason that that is the only level of government that they claim for themselves as their own. But when you are a denizen of a local government, that is, when you reside in the local government, you find your location in the space of the nation and in the space of the globe from the point of view of that foundation that local government has given to you. Without local government, globalization would be meaningless to many people. But in order for you to actualize the benefits of globalization, we need people to manage local governments who think globally, but are rooted locally. So you must think globally, you must be cosmopolitan, but you must not forget where you are rooted. Now, local government is coming in at a juncture of local and national development that will even complexify the challenges of government. Today in our country, you know all the things that are suffering. If it's not attack by hate people, it is that there is so much unemployment, it is that there is abduction here, there's abduction there, there's kidnapping, there's violent crime, outbreak, rape. It is that oil is sinking and we need to diversify our economy. It is that our infrastructure is running under and therefore we need a renewal. It is that energy is in crisis. It is that education is in tatters. It is that we can do with better healthcare. All of these things are problematics for government. Now, problematics for government at a time when local government is coming in. So, how does local government find itself rooted in all of these problems and what roles can it play? The first thing I'd like to bring on the table is that local government is not a Nigerian invention. Local government is universal, and it's the oldest and longest form of government known to mankind. The 1996 Constitution of South Africa has, in Chapter 3, a whole section devoted to cooperative government. It talks about the duties and functions of the national government, the provincial government, and the local authorities. Of course, you know, like in many other countries, local governments in South Africa are also multi-layered. So you have municipalities, you have local authorities, and you have district authorities. All of them are provided for in Chapter 3 of the 1996 Constitution. You have a responsibility to ground yourselves properly in your local government by living in situ. You must be there. You have to be part of the problem. You must consult people. You must involve people and engage them. Citizens want to be engaged and they must be empowered. You must introduce new forms of co-governance with civil society and with the private sector. One person says, if local governments want to make the best of the opportunities offered by globalization, you must have sisterhood agreements with municipalities and localities outside. You must have trade promotion exercises. You must open up. You must be part of the whole thing in the Constitution that also emphasizes cooperative governance. That's why it is said that local government must be part of development planning at the state level. You must do that. Finally, just to close, let me remind us that we are at a particular juncture in our country's history where people will not forgive us if we don't do well. These same people that have voted for us expect so much from us because you no longer have the wherewithal that made native authorities ineffectual. You now have all that it takes to do well. The ball is firmly in your court, and I hope that together with the state government, you can make a difference in emphasizing the point that global